Since I started to show up as myself, I have clients that I love. They're happy to pay me what I'm worth. It's just it's a relationship that's based on really love, community, connection, and things that we all want to forge more of in our lives and our businesses.
We have a three-time best-selling author here, Lynn Abaté-Johnson. She teaches, trains, and consults brands, entrepreneurs, and organizations to help them discover creative ways to bring their whole selves to work for the purpose of attracting communities who are happy, that pay well. Plus, she advocates and refers new business. And so I'm really, really excited to welcome Lynn here. Lynn, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, Jen. I'm really a big fan of your podcast. I've listened to many episodes.
Awesome. Well, we're really happy to have you here. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in helping entrepreneurs and helping business.
Okay. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, into a very, very strong, intense ethnic family who was in business. I was always raised by entrepreneurs. And my grandfather on my Chaldean side um, had roller skating rinks. And so as soon as I turned, as soon as I could kind of like see people over the counter, I was waiting on customers. And I started working at 9 years old. So I have always had a heart for small business, local business. And I was taught at the very beginning, when the phone rang, I was taught by my parents and my grandparents to answer the phone on the first ring and don't make people wait. And so that's kind of the one of the policies or one of the guidelines that guided me in how to welcome people into your business and make sure that they're feeling like they're the only one who exists. So, when you go into any kind of restaurant or shop or whatever, you want to feel like you are centered, like people are happy to have you there. And, one of the things that I love that I still see today is when I walk into a store or a restaurant and I hear, welcome in. And I mean, I think that philosophy, welcome in, is one of the biggest ways to start building community. And what I teach and what I consult on is just that, building what I call true community, which is not some fake kind of marketing stuff that, is like all buzzwordy, but it's real people offering real value to real people and starting locally and thinking globally. So, really appreciate the fact that I've been working for so long, I wouldn't know how not to work. And so, from that standpoint, I can say and admit that I am a recovering workaholic. So now in my older age, I'm learning how to temper my enthusiasm a little bit with, taking care of me. So I was always that type of person that, I'd take care of everybody else. I would make sure everybody else was well cared for and welcome, and I would forget myself. And so that's what I'm learning now, Jen. So I think probably a lot of your listeners can relate to that.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to what you were saying with the stores and with businesses and having that connection. Because when you have the impersonal connection, like I know for me, just in retail, like when I go to shop somewhere and they don't say hi, like you said, like they're saying, it totally feels like a different experience when you feel welcome to be there. And when they're saying it in a way where they really are welcoming you and not in a way where sometimes someone will say that, but they're saying it because it's like they're saying, "Why don't you hear? Like, don't steal from us." You know what I mean? I'm like, that's not, but an actual genuine hello and the human speak. I was just buying shoes at REI and in the back of their stores where they have their shoes. And I wanted to try them on because you have to give them to somebody. They have to go find your size and whatever, right? But the people that were the workers that were there were talking in the corner. I could hear them talking, I could see them, but they didn't acknowledge me for over 5 minutes. And I was just like, this is kind of like, do I want to buy shoes here? you know? Like, I don't think I do. I did end up buying the shoes, but even the checkout process was not friendly. She acted like I was interrupting something she was doing. She wasn't nice to me. And I was just like,
Mm,
when I left, I was happy I got my Tevas, but I was kind of like, I don't think I'll ever buy from REI again, because I didn't have that human experience. I had impersonable. They didn't seem like they were happy to be there. They didn't seem to seem that happy that I was there. Right.
yes. Yes. And so these days, when we walk into a storefront or a restaurant and we are genuinely warmly welcomed, there's that whole, it's a little bit of a marketing buzzword, but I'll say it because you'll know what I mean. There's that surprise and delight.
Hmm.
And when people are surprised and delighted by the good service that they're receiving, they not only want to return, but they also want to refer people. And my whole life, I actually in my college years I started out in sales. So I was selling cosmetics and it was commission based and I loved it. And I still dabble in that a little bit today. However, I learned really at a young age to surprise people by following up and surprise people by asking for referrals. And even if someone said no to me or, to my proposal at the time, I would also I would always ask them, "Well, who do you know? It's not right for you right now, and the no is a no for now. Doesn't mean it's forever, but who do you know that you could refer to me?" And so I think that many, many entrepreneurs, they forget about the repeat customer, like you want people to come back in, and they forget about those referrals. And
Hmm.
that's the coin of the realm. That's what keeps businesses going
Yeah.
and thriving. Like you said at the beginning, thriving when it seems impossible, especially as a young business, especially as a startup. And I've worked with them all. I have a soft spot in my heart for startups because I love the challenge and I love the risk and I love the, oh my gosh, what are we going to do next? So,
Mhm.
because I'm a systems and structures person, I love helping people, create systems and structures around their business that not only humanize their business, but also make their business scalable. So for years and years and years, as long as they want to grow their business, they are able to scale it without killing themselves.
And I think that's the key because a lot of times people think to scale it means they need more clients, but then they don't hire new people and then now they're burnt out, right? So
Exactly.
it's better to figure out different ways to scale. So how would you tell someone who says, "Oh, I just want to bring on a lot more clients," to help them to scale?
Well, one of the first things I do in my intake interviews when I'm assessing whether someone even really needs me or not is I ask them, who is their team? Who do they already have in place? And what roles do those people play? Because there are some key roles that are very important. And the business owner is not always the best person to create, for example, a business plan or to create those systems and structures. Very often, the business owner is the visionary, right? They're the person who makes gorgeous jewelry, for example, or who does beautiful art, or who writes amazing books, or who is a great chef and opened up a restaurant. Those are not necessarily the same people who are capable or even have the capacity or the desire to grow and scale that business as a business person. So that's the first thing I ask is, who do you already have in place? What rules do they care for you? And what do you think is missing? And I always trust the instinct of the business owner, even if they don't trust themselves. And I've been in that position where I didn't trust my own instincts and I didn't listen to my own instincts. And I made mistakes from there. So I learned. So that's what I ask the business owners is, what do you think you're missing here in your growth plan? And what is your growth plan? Like, where are you right now exactly? And in terms of numbers, and I think it was one of your recent guests, Michael,
Mhm.
who touched on that, like know your
Yeah.
numbers. And then where do you want to go from there? Where do you want to be in 2, 3, 5 years? And how can I help you fill that gap? Like what's missing right now? And what I'm able to do with every single client that I've had is that I can see from the outside as an objective observer and also as a voice of the consumer, I can see what they are way too close to their business to see.
Mhm.
So that's how I can help them navigate through it and assess. I do digital business assessments. So I assess their business and then I give them a checklist. And even if they don't have a business plan, my digital business assessment can actually help them know where to go next. Next, 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 next,
Mhm.
next. I'm a big believer in checklists
Mhm.
and I live by checklists and I live by my calendar. And so I help people see the value in having that checklist from the assessments that I do of their overall business.
Yeah, I love that you do that, and I love that you're talking about really diving in when the business owner is too close to their business. Like a lot of times we kind of get in our heads and we think things have to be a certain way, and we're not looking at it in, like you said, like an outside view or a consumer view. We're not looking at it as our client. We're looking at it because we're so close to the business. So I love that you say you have that outside perspective. And I think a lot of times business owners forget that they need a coach or they need a person, they need to hire someone to help them with that because they think, "Oh, I can do it all myself," because 'cause they're the solopreneur, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And, I think it's not like some practitioners or experts or professionals where you have to have them on full time or you have to keep going back to them every, twice a week or whatever for, let's say you have an acute, you know, neck ache or something, or you injured your shoulder and you have to go, back to that professional, whether it's a chiropractor or whatever kind of healer you're going to. And I like to have people be independent of me. So I like to come in, help them out, get them on a roll, and then I go away and then they can call me back in. I also do, lots of contracts. A friend of mine called me the queen of community. And so I love to go in and help people get the essence of what it means to build community. And especially in today's environment where there's so much chaos and there's so much uncertainty and there's so much disconnection. And so when I come in and help people see what they're too close to see and forget about all the advice that they get from their friends or, you know, telling them, oh, you should do this or you should do that. Actually,
Well, I love the friend advice, right? The friends who've never had a business in their life are telling you how to run your business.
yeah,
They're an employee and they're telling you how to run your business that you've been running for 5
exactly.
years or 10 years. Yeah.
Exactly. And very often, I think what's missing in a lot of business advice that is really no good advice at all is that people misunderstand what it takes to get your product to the market or get your service to the market. And really, what it takes is discernment, consistency, building community, building belonging and connection. And I mean, who wouldn't want that anytime, but especially in today's world, right?
Yeah, I like that. You talk about or we talked about a little bit about bringing your whole self or having your looking more into yourself and bringing your whole self to your job or your work or your passion. How do you go about doing that?
That's a great question. And I talk about that a lot. The reason I talk about bringing your whole self to whatever you're doing is because there was a time when I did not do that. So I'm a recovering people pleaser, right? And I had that disease to please. And what I've learned over all of these years is that I need to trust myself more. I need to trust my intuition more and really do a great job of managing expectations for myself and for my potential client No, bringing your whole self, that's,
Mhm.
authenticity has become a buzzword, unfortunately, but it wouldn't be a buzzword if it didn't have some merit. And so I really believe that the people who will bring me in to work
Mhm.
with them are my people. Because now, today, the way that I show up is the way I am. In business, in life, you can run into me on the street and I'll be that same person. And so there's nothing for me to make up. There's nothing for me to fake. And I don't have to remember anything that I said to one person and then I, maybe didn't say it to another person. I'm very direct. Some would say intense, which I'm learning to appreciate my own intensity now, coming from, a big ethnic family. I think that's a gift. And I used to kind of tap that down a little bit and not show up in all of the ways that I am. And I have found, since I started to show up as myself, I have clients that I love. They're happy to pay me what I'm worth. It's just it's a relationship that's based on really love, community, connection, and things that we all want to forge more of in our lives and our businesses. So I created that
Mhm.
course called Show Up You, hashtag Show Up You. And that curriculum is designed to help people understand that they may be getting advice from a lot of different avenues, and they may think that they know what marketing is or what bringing your product to the market is. And what I do is kind of turn that all on its head without jargon, without buzzwords.
I love that, and sounds like you've taken that course and put yourself and your authenticity into that course.
Definitely. Yeah. It's just a 4 module course. It's 90 minutes a week. And I have a wait list building for that right now. And for the next round. But it's very impactful, for 90 minutes a week for 4 weeks in a row. I cover lots of different basic things about growing and scaling a business and building community, and especially global communities, which I'm actually a specialist at,
Mhm.
and leveraging social media tools to do that. So I love the people who come to me who hate social media. They say, "I hate social media. I'm quitting. That's it." And so I want those people. I want those people not to convince them to stay, to show them what that represents and how to show up
Mhm.
without giving yourself up or
Yeah.
taking yourself down,
Mhm.
really protecting your nervous system at the same time that you're trying to grow your business.
Right. A lot of people are afraid of social media, and a lot of people are afraid of putting themselves out there, or they or
With good reason.
yeah,
Yeah.
or they don't know how to, their personal brand with their business brand, or how to show up authentically. And social media is hard because we always just wanna post the most successful parts of our lives.
Yeah, and, showing up in that way, in ways that are only like unicorns and rainbows, is not real life, and we all know that.
Mhm.
And especially, I learned this in the cosmetics industry. When you're marketing to women especially, you know, women can tell when somebody's lying to them
Mhm.
or being inauthentic or being disingenuous. Like, we can spot it a mile away. So don't even try that stuff. And I really loved one of your other previous guests that you interviewed, Angelique,
Mhm.
who talks about creating courses. And I actually listened to that one twice. And she talks about this as well. And it's really in terms of creating courses, because I'm also a course creator. And so I really was fascinated and so happy to see that conversation happening too. So the more of these conversations that we're having in the world, the more reassurance we all have that if we have a passion for something, we've got to just do it and get help along the way from those people who are experts and specialists in certain areas.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm here for. That's what I was put on the planet for.
I love that. Well, tell people where they can go to get your course, where they can go to learn more about you and to hire you to help them to thrive in today's business world.
Sure. Thank you. You can go to lynnabaté-johnson.com, and I'm sure that'll be in your show notes. And it's a great place to connect with me. You can go to my contact page and send me a note and tell me what you're interested in. Tell me what you're struggling with. Tell me what your successes are, what's worked for you and what hasn't worked. And then we'll schedule a 15-minute call and we'll see if I can help you.
Awesome. We'll put that up in the show notes. People can go there and look for your course as well as buy some of your books.
Sounds great. Yeah. Quick little
Sure.
tangent about my books
Mhm.
is that I get to sell them through my website and I get to hold each one in my hand and sign it and personalize it for each person. And I can ship them anywhere in the United States. So from that standpoint, yeah, people can see my books there.
And that humanizes, again, the human experience, right? And building a community because you have that personal touch of finding
For
it and
sure.
loving
Yeah,
it.
and that's how we thrive, right? We stick together. We really focus on community, 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 and focusing on the last part of that word, which is unity, right? If we focus on that, I think that can really help us, especially these days, to be aware of, who we are, how we are, what we have to offer in the world, and stay in that lane and be an expert in that, be a specialist in that, so that as we gather more digitally and in person, that they're not alone.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Lynn, for being here today. And please like and subscribe and share this podcast with someone who you know would benefit.
Thank you. I know I
Yeah.
will. I'll be sharing it.
Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.